Khao Soi is hands down my favorite noodle dish to eat and cook. It's a curry noodle soup from northern Thailand, where my entire mom's side of the family is from, so it's very close to my heart. What's happening, guys? It's Jet Tila, and this is Ready Jet Cook, where I show you how to make some of my favorite Asian dishes from pantry to plate. Let's do this. So I pulled some egg noodles out of the cooler. For Khao Soi, I'm just looking for an egg and wheat noodle, flatter the better. You're gonna find these in the deli section. They are fresh noodles, they're not dry pasta, but all I'm looking for is a whole wheat pasta that has eggs in it, that is flat in shape. So I want that chewiness, but the softness. If you can't get these noodles, an egg noodle will work really well, or a linguine would be perfect. Okay, I need that. And that. Okay, so Khao Soi is basically a curry noodle. So I needed these two specific curries. All Thai curries have the same base, like lemongrass and galanga and lime leaves, but they're all finished just a little differently. Yellow curry, or curry basically has a lot of turmeric, so it makes a beautiful kind of like saffrony yellow color. And massaman curry has those warming spices like cinnamon and coriander. So these, in my opinion, are nice, sweet, warming curries. And of course, you can't have Thai food without fish sauce. Fish sauce is the primary salt and savory condiment in Thailand. Anywhere you have salt, you use fish sauce. All it is anchovies, salt, and water, but the umami pop that it brings is unparalleled. You know, Thai people were not the only ones to use anchovy water, so did the Romans and the Italians today. All right, so why do I love this dish so much? If you've never had it, I think the easiest thing to compare it to is ramen, right? This whole ramen phase that's happening right now. We love ramen because it's rich, it's got noodles in it, it's slippery and slurpy and savory, and this is all of those things and more, in my opinion. So I've got to marry some braised chicken thighs together with this curry, and basically that adds up to pure deliciousness. To start braising my chicken leg and thighs is very simple. You always want to braise or start a stock in cold water, because that keeps the stock from getting really cloudy. So leg quarters in, I'm gonna start the heat now and let it come up gently, because if you let the heat come up gently, you're gonna keep this stock from getting super cloudy. I'm trying to accomplish a few things here. I wanna get the chicken thighs braised and tender. I wanna generate a really delicious stock all at the same time. And to do that, I need to add aromatics. The soul of Thai food is really summed up in 3 ingredients, and these 3 right here. It's galanga, Thai lime leaves, and lemongrass. The French have their mirepoix, their trinity, while the Thais have these 3. Thai lime leaves, they're flat, waxy, and have an incredible amount of citrus aromatics in there, so don't overthink it. Just tear them up gently and get them right into the water. Next, lemongrass. There's few kind of ingredients in life that give you such intense aromatics. If I was kind of incorporating this into food, I'd cut it down really small, but I'm just trying to extract flavor. And the way you extract flavor is just to create a ton of surface area into that kind of simmering sauce. So I'm really just kind of opening them up with quarter turns, and then using the back of my knife to really kind of break apart those cells and get those aromatics going on. So a good chef tip is don't cut these down into tiny pieces, because they're a pain to fish out later. You just want to create kind of a T-cut in here, get the back of that knife, and beat it up a little bit. Those go right in. All right, lastly, galanga. Pretty often confused for ginger. Smells nothing like it, tastes nothing like it. If you've never had it, it's a very peppery and piney taste. And because, again, we're incorporating into stock, I'm not gonna overthink it. I know a lot of you are wondering, how do I get this stuff? I don't have the Asian market close to me. You can actually order these online in their dry form, and they're perfect for this stock. All right, so with garlic in stocks, don't overthink it, all right? Again, you want to expose enough garlic flavor. So to me, that just means cutting this in half, having 2 beautiful pieces with all that garlic flavor exposed, so it's easy to fish out later, and those go right in. I think you're getting the common theme here. When making stock, do not get meticulous in your knife cuts. With shallots, I'm slicing it up skin and all right? Because I'll pull them out later. I'm not worried about that. Now, you've got to ask yourself, how spicy are you? Well, I'm pretty darn spicy, and these Thai chilies are also pretty darn spicy. So I got to give you a word of warning here. 1 Thai chili pepper is going to give you lots of heat already. 2 is going to be like, wait a minute, and 3 is going to be like, yo, like you better be ready because your head is going to sweat. I'm going to go for all 3 today because I like it really hot. I'm going to just make 1 cut in. I'm going to leave the seeds in and all, and I'm going to leave the stems on because I do want to be able to fish them out later. So the goal of this stock is basically to get those chicken leg thighs braised, create a very rich kind of stock to marry into the curry. So this is gonna go, I'll bring that to a simmer, and then just let that cruise until those chicken thighs are cooked, not necessarily falling apart, but I do want them pretty soft because we need them to hold up in the curry. And speaking of curry, I'm gonna show you how to make really great Thai curry. Now, curry is kind of all the same base, meaning, remember that Thai trinity? All that becomes the base of most curries. It's what you finish the curry with that determines what it is. So let me explain. So to the base, if we added red chilies, you've made red curry paste. If you add green chilies, you've made green, et cetera, et cetera. But what makes massaman special is the herbs and spices that go into it. There's cinnamon, there's some cardamom. So it gives you a really kind of sweet, herbaceous note. And then I'm gonna back that up with yellow curry paste because it has a very high level of cumin in it. So you know the warming spices you love about Indian food? That's all in here. I like cooking curry in something that's very wide because you're gonna need to reduce. And anytime you have a lot of surface area, you're gonna get a lot of reduction. While that pan is heating up, I'm gonna show you what I'm always looking for in coconut milk. Never shake the can of coconut milk, even though the can tells you to. I think we just do that because 90% of the applications of coconut milk require like this balanced liquidy coconut milk. But for curry, don't shake the can and look at what you get on top. This beautiful layer of pure coconut oil. So another grandma tip for you, use that coconut fat as a frying medium for your curry paste. So I'm just taking the top of the coconut cream and you already can smell kind of how fragrant it is. You're gonna go 50-50, the yellow curry paste and the massaman curry paste. And I want you to work this like a roux. Check it out. You're gonna use the coconut fat and then actually fry up the curry paste. Now, what this is doing is very similar to sauteing onions and garlic. It's really kind of expressing the flavors, sweetening it up, the caramelization. There's a lot happening here, and this is how you get down to very delicious curry. When I teach curry, what I teach people is you wanna fry this till you get to that point where you're like, oh man, I think it's gonna burn, but it's not burnt yet. So it gets super fragrant and super sweet. It almost looks like peanut butter in the pan, and I'm just about there, okay? Kind of that moment where like, if I go 30 more seconds, I'm gonna be like, oh no, it's too much. So I'm gonna have the rest of the coconut milk at the ready. And once I hit that magic fragrant moment, right, and I'm almost there, now you're allowed to stir that coconut milk and get it right in there. And I'm gonna reserve a little to kind of give me a little bit of cushion, right, in case I need to thicken it up later. Do you remember that Thai lime leaf? Let me show you a very cool cut to incorporate lime leaves into curry. I'm gonna put them on top of each other. I'm gonna roll them up really tightly. The French would call this chiffonade. The Thai would actually call this soy, kind of like Khao Soi. I'll explain that in a moment. I'm gonna take my knife and do a very, very fine pass. It's almost like blades of grass. And this takes a little bit of practice. So if you're not comfortable, just use scissors, cut it to as wide as you're comfortable. And we call that, soy lime leaves. So soy just means to tear into strips or to cut, very similar to the noodles that we're gonna play with later. So those beautifully soyed lime leaves are going to marry their citrus aromatics into this curry and really bring a ton of flavor. So all we're doing now is reduction, meaning I need to reduce this curry until it coats the back of the spoon. And what that does is creates that velvety kind of mouthfeel, that temperature, that beautiful kind of coating that's gonna marry into the noodles. Now that the curry and the coconut milk are reducing, we want to bathe those chicken leg thighs in here to get them coated and get that curry flavor happening. So I'm gently gonna fish out these thighs because I want to keep them intact as possible because they're gonna look gorgeous swimming in curry. And then marry this to the curry sauce. And if I catch a little chili, well, whoops, it's just too bad. We're gonna have to make this spicy. Now reserve this stock because the stock is going to be combined into the curry to kind of thin this out and really complete that flavor. So that's in there. I wanna coat the thighs in the curry and just let them simmer all together. It's kind of like that French butter basting, but I'm curry basting here. So Khao Soi is indigenous to northern Thailand, where my mom's side of the family came from. Khao Soi literally translates to slivered rice noodles. Khao means rice, soy, as you saw, means to cut into thin strips. This is a very indigenous dish shared between all the cultures from the north, and every time that smell of spices and curry kind of permeates, it brings me back and it reminds me of my grandmother. So this is a very kind of a, you know, when you get those sense memories that dig into your brain, this dish reminds me a lot of my grandma. So it honors her, and I miss her. So I'm gonna show you how she did it so we can enjoy it together. So we're gonna let these chicken leg thighs braise away. I'm gonna finish cutting my garnishes to kind of plate up the Khao Soi. The garnishes are very, very simple. We've got some scallions, and the way I like to cut scallions is always kind of cut them in half, and I'm gonna do a bias thin slice on them. I'm not going too extreme because I don't want super long pieces. I just want nice kind of tight, really pretty scallions in the dish. There you go. Next are gonna be shallots. I want diced shallots here. So I start shallots all the same way. I take the tip and I take a little bit of the root off. I cut them in half and then peel them into half, just like I do onions. So dice, put them on the half. I want a 1/4 inch cut in this way. I'm gonna do 1/4 inch slices here, and then line them all up and do my final 1/4 inch cut, and I should have some even small dices. There it is. The last ingredient is the fun one. It's just pickled mustard greens. It's a very common green that's eaten in Southeast Asia, and these have just been pickled, just like you pickle cucumbers. Salt, vinegar, water, and just a lot of thyme. Thyme is in thyme, not the herb thyme. And since these are garnishes, I just want to cut them all into small pieces, and they're all going to be floated on top of the Khao Soi to kind of choose your own adventure, which is another fun thing about Thai food. I'm going to make a delicious Khao Soi, but the diner's going to be able to kind of pick his or her way of eating it. Some might like a lot of shallots, some might like 0 shallots, but it really kind of completes the meal and also the texture of the dish. So now it's time to deal with these noodles. They are egg noodles, they are raw, so we need to cook them. The fun thing is we're gonna do them 2 ways, right? We have some boiling water to actually just cook them al dente, just like any pasta. And then I've got a little bit of frying oil as well, because we're gonna want them crispy. And as you can see, they're raw, they're coated in a little bit of fine flour, and these need to be cooked up. So for the boiling, very simple, friends. I've got some water up. Let's salt that to get some flavor in there. And we're gonna start this batch cooking. So on this side, we've got the noodles just boiling away. And on this side, I'm bringing just frying oil, vegetable, canola, any of the oils you wanna fry it with, up to about 350, 365. And we're gonna loosen them on the board again. And we're just gonna drop them in very small batches until they cook up GBD. That's golden brown and delicious. You know, the most important thing is the oil's at that right temperature, and just make sure you do it in small batches. And they're very thin noodles, so they're gonna kind of brown up really quickly, so you wanna keep your eye on them. So I just wanna loosen them up that first minute so they don't kind of stick together, and then I'm just gonna let them go. As you can see, they're lifting up, they're cooking from the bottom, so once they kind of initially set, we're gonna do 1 turn, and then we're gonna let them brown up, and then they're done. All right, so the bottoms are nice and light brown, and this last browning is literally gonna take like 10 seconds. Again, GBD is golden brown delicious, not golden burnt and not delicious. So, all right, let's let those chill out for a minute. Crispy noodles, check. The soft noodle's almost there. This is the perfect time to season the khao soi. So remember, in Thai food, we're going for hot, sour, salty, sweet, and savory. I've got the hot already in there. For salty, we're gonna do a little bit of fish sauce. We need the acid to come from the tamarind. I need a little sweet, which is gonna be from sugar. And by itself, I mean, this would be a phenomenal chicken curry. I mean, you could stop here, slam this over some beautifully cooked jasmine rice and kind of call it a day. But to really make this khao soi, which is the curry soup, I'm gonna add this gorgeous stock that we braised our chicken in. And if you get some hitchhikers like a little lemongrass and lime leaf, don't freak out, man. That's just extra deliciousness. Just tell your guests that it's in there so that they can expect it. And there it is, right there. I want to make sure to incorporate the stock into the curry to make this that kind of perfect curry soup noodle texture. I want it kind of velvety, not too thin, not too thick. And now it's time to build the khao soi bowls. So I want to start with my noodles. I'm going to drain these very well. If you're holding these for any amount of time, just give them a rinse in cold water, let them drain until you're ready. For me, I'm going to go right in and serve immediately. It's time for the chicken leg thigh. Oh man, what a meal. Ladle in some of that unctuous curry soup. I can't think of a better word. I mean, that word kind of sums it up for me because it's creamy and savory all at the same time. We're gonna apply garnishes. Shallots are earthy. The mustard greens are sour. We're gonna do some of those crispy noodles. And if you're kind of serving individuals, you could create like a little platter of all of the garnishes and people can kind of choose their own adventure, which makes it fun. I'm gonna take this bowl down as soon as we're done here, so this is all mine. And finally, some cilantro, or as they say, coriander leaves. And that's it, friends. It's everything I want in a bowl. It's my last meal, my favorite meal. It is heaven in a bowl. Let's give this a shot. It's creamy from the coconut milk. It's got such depth of flavor from that curry paste. I hope next time you get a craving for curry, you just go for it and you make khao soi. This really brings me back to times with my family. It is my favorite noodle dish. I hope it becomes yours. And we'll see you guys next time on Ready, Jet, Cook.